Hello, I'm Rachel Richards and welcome to Teenagers Untangled, the audio hub where we use research by experts and our own experience to discuss everything and anything to do with parenting teenagers.
Hi, I'm Susie Asley, mindful therapist, mindfulness teacher and musician, and mother of 3 teenagers. 2 of them are twins.
As a parenting coach, mother of 2 teenagers and 2 bonus daughters, I've seen the transformative power of getting people together to share ideas and support each other. So here we are. Welcome, pull up a chair and let's begin. Now, Susie Jamie has contacted us to ask for help. She's struggling to figure out how to include her new partner in her life. She's been divorced for a year, started dating a friend she's known for some time. And, well, she wants her teens to be happy. She wants her partner to be happy. And, of course, she wants to be happy.
Yeah.
Right? So there are minimum of 3 things in this little group. So the difficult thing is, how does she balance it?
Yeah, great question.
Yes, and between us both, we've got experience.
Yep.
You more recently than me.
Yeah,
and
loads of experience.
Yes. And I've got friends who've tried and failed to include
it's
someone in
hard.
their new life. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah, I know of people who have really struggled with it.
Yes. So she's right to be worried about it. And right, what a great thing to sort of pause and think, okay, how am I doing this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about top tips and a message written by a woman looking back on what she wished had happened when she was a teen being introduced to a new partner. So
That's brilliant. I can't wait to hear that.
yes, exactly. I'm here mostly to learn from you, Susie. So first of all, let's just talk nuggets. What have you got for us this week?
Well, my nugget is actually related to this topic, which is appropriate. It's my partner has 2 boys who are actually exactly the same age as my children, coincidentally, and they came over. They don't often mix, which we'll probably go into more in a bit, but they just for logistical reasons. But they came over for a barbecue in half term, which was really lovely. And they haven't seen each other that many times, but they do know each other. And we were having dinner, and it was all lovely. And the eldest, it was my son instigated it. They're both 18. And we were just chatting. It was lovely. And they just kind of turned around to the other eldest and went, do you fancy going to Wetherspoons? Which is a really horrible, dodgy pub near us, which is cheap, which is why he goes. And the other kid went, oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Amazing.
And at the moment, I thought, oh, yeah, but we're having a lovely group dinner. And then I went, oh, this is amazing.
Yes.
They want to hang out together. Yeah, no, go. It was so lovely.
Wonderful.
Really
that
lovely.
must have been a really touching moment.
It was. They kind of ran out the door giggling. You got your ID?
I love
Yeah, go.
that. I love that.
Yeah.
So mine's not about that specifically, but it is kind of about relationships, because my daughter told me that she thought her friend's mum doesn't like her.
Ah.
And I said, really? Why would you think that? And she tried to give some reasons, but she wasn't clear. She said, I just think, it's just the vibes. Yeah. And I explained to her why I thought it was, utter nonsense.
Yeah.
And it made me think that, gosh, teens do tend to catastrophize things. They look for feedback and they don't really often judge it well. They just feel like there's something wrong with them when they don't get a positive because quite often us parents, we're focused on something else or we're not really thinking about the teenager. And as a result of that, the next time I gave a lift to one of her friends, I ramped it up. So as the friend turned up, I just said, hi, how's it going? How was your weekend? So, and then involved her in a chat in the car. And she really responded.
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought, we as parents can do so much more to just kind of, it doesn't have to be over the top. It doesn't have to be a long-winded conversation, just enough so that they feel like, oh, actually their mum doesn't dislike me.
Yeah, it's so important.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, because I think they're all feeling a bit insecure. So let's start with that.
Yeah, no, my kids' friends are, it's lovely. They're always like, how are you? How you doing?
Oh, they all love you.
Oh, well.
I want to come and hang at your house.
They gave me flowers for my birthday.
No, oh, that's so
my
sweet.
daughter's friends. I was nearly cried. It was so sweet.
Yes. Oh, that's lovely. Now, incidentally, do you know? Incidentally, our episode on helping your teen with anxiety was our most popular download.
Amazing.
That's changed.
Oh,
can you guess which one it is now?
Oh. No.
Okay. It's episode 32, Consequences. And
of course.
Yes, and the teen that doesn't seem to care. I'm not surprised. I think that knowing how to set appropriate boundaries and deal with infractions is something that really troubles us all in the teenage years.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
that's
trying
so
to figure that
interesting.
out, because it seems more clear and simpler when they're younger, but
Yes.
it's much more complicated, I think, or it feels more complicated.
Interesting. That's the
Yeah.
most popular, because that's quite a recent one as well.
It's very recent, yes,
Yeah.
and it's overtaken the anxiety one.
Gosh.
Yes. Now, back to Jamie, who wants to progress her relationship from evenings out to spending some time together at home. It's not really much to ask for, is it? You know, if you're in a relationship without any hangers-on, that would be a simple thing to do.
Yeah.
But she just doesn't know how to make this awkward thing work with her 17-year-old.
No.
One of our listeners contacted us and said she'd introduced her 13-year-old after 6 months together. I did the same thing. I said to my husband, you know, he wanted me to meet his kids within 2 weeks, which was a great sign. But I just said, you know, no, because they don't need women being paraded through their lives. Let's make sure that we are actually in a relationship that's sustainable.
Yeah.
And she built up talking about him with her children.
Yes.
Her child, her son. She didn't meet her partner's son until 2 years into the relationship.
Gosh.
And she found that really, really difficult,
that's
because
really
there was a bit of sneaking around, so she wasn't being seen. So
that's sending out a quite a tricky signal as well, isn't it? That can be quite painful, like how much do you want me around?
yes,
Is this permanent?
absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's hard.
And so we did talk a bit about step parents and the relationship that you can build up with a stepchild in episode 29. So anyone who's sort of in this zone, that's worth listening to. But this is slightly different, because you're not necessarily their step parent.
No, especially for a teenager, you're not.
No, and you're also new on the scene. So it's how do you introduce someone newly to the scene?
Yeah.
Susie.
Da, da, da. Well, let's pull up a chair.
Yes.
Well, what I did, so I've been with my partner now and I'm not saying this is the only way or the right way, this is just what I did. We've been together for nearly 2 years. Wow. We were really cautious. We kind of knew really early that this was going to be something that was going to be part of our lives for a long time.
Which is a really helpful thing,
Yeah.
because a lot of the time you'll get people who they really like the person, but is this a big thing?
Yeah.
Is it bigger?
Yeah.
And if you're not sure, that can make it quite difficult.
Absolutely. And I'd had other brief relationships, and not many to be honest, but where I didn't think that, so then I didn't introduce the kids.
Okay, that's interesting.
So what did we do? I was playing a concert, and he came to watch, and I talked to the kids about him.
Had you talked much before then, or was that the first time you really talked about him?
No, I think beforehand they knew I was meeting somebody. They knew of him, but
so they knew you were dating.
They knew I was dating after we'd been seeing each other for quite a few weeks. I kind of dropped it casually in, and they pick up on stuff. Where are you going? And if I don't immediately go, I'm seeing a friend that they know. If I hesitated, they started to realize I was dating, and they were kind of like, "Ooh, where are you going? What are you doing?"
Did they mind that you weren't completely open about dating?
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Because they're mine in anyway. We're in a stage where, well, they're different anyway. One of them didn't really want to know. That's weird. Stop it. I don't need to know.
Yes.
Ooh, yuck. My daughter was really curious, so I was online dating. So we had quite a laugh. She was like looking through pictures with me.
Oh, I love
like
that.
We went camping and she was looking. And but I didn't. We only did that once because I didn't want that to be a thing either, for her to think that she had some sort of influence over it. That would be weird.
Yes.
So it was really kind of jokey, light. And my other child was sort of wanted to know, but not too much. So it kind of worked out quite well. But they got the idea I was dating, and they were curious. But with my partner, I said that he was coming to this concert. They were coming. Actually, only 2 of them came in the end. So they knew they were going to meet him, but I didn't make a big deal of it. And they met, and it was they all really like each other immediately, so that was lucky. But he just came to the concert. They met in the interval. He stayed around after, said hi. Talked football with my son, which was very smart, and talked to my daughter about something else, and then went home.
So you did one of the key things that they suggest you should do. I mean, first of all, you'd waited until your kids knew you were single,
Yeah.
which they knew for a very long time.
Oh,
So that's
yes.
okay. So you need to have some kind of the ground settling between you. You're
Yes.
split up with your previous partner and a new person.
That had definitely happened.
Yes, and then what you're saying is brilliant, because meeting on neutral ground is really important.
Oh, okay.
And because you can't, if you bring the person into your house straight away, that's a real, because it's their turf.
Yes.
I mean, and I'll just tell you before we move on, I had probably the worst meeting with my bonus daughters. They were little.
Which is very different when they're teenagers and when they're little.
Different,
very, very different.
But just because it just went really badly, in my opinion. And we did the thing with the neutral ground. We'd been together for 6 months, and my husband's mother was absolutely lovely and said, right, I'm going to go and collect a new car. Why don't you come and we'll meet the girl. I'll have the girls with me, and we'll meet that way. And, it just went from the youngest looking at me and saying, I want to swap you with my mummy, which was really painful. And then, and then I tried to sort of have fun with them in the showroom, and I put the older one on this, one of those rotation chairs, and she was like, "Oh, this is fun." And so I swung her around. She vomited, and then she was sick in the car all the way home. And then when we got back, I then shut the car door without realising the youngest's finger was still in there.
No.
So it didn't really
Rachel,
go very
that was not very fun. Oh my God.
And I was really nervous, and I really wanted them to like me. So I just kind of screwed up. Full stop.
And you didn't have your own kids at that point either.
Didn't have my own kids. Really, it was quite stressful. But we love each other. Well, I think they love me. I love them. Yeah. And we get on really well now. Anyway, so it's not all is lost if it doesn't go very, very well. No. So anyway, coming back to you. So you met on neutral ground, which is key.
Yeah. And actually, my kids got in the car afterwards. It was a concert, we stayed behind, and it was all lovely. And it's funny, and we still laugh about it. And my partner's name is Mike, and my youngest boy got in the car and went, "Oh, Mark's really nice, Mum."
Oh, that's lovely. That's great.
Mark is really nice.
Oh, Mark. Oh, sorry, Mark. I hadn't even picked up his name. That's really funny.
I'm really pleased you like him. His name's Mike. It was really funny. We tease him about that.
So did you tell them things about him before they met him?
Oh gosh, did I? Yes, I did. If they asked, I didn't ram him down their throats. Right. They asked, has he got kids? They were interested. Has he got kids?
Yeah. So they say, tell them positive things about your partner before. Like, what do you like about the partner before they meet them? Just gently drop little things in, and anything they ask, be prepared to answer questions. Yeah. Again, just make it very light.
Yeah, and I did. Just things that were related to them. He likes sport. He supports the football team. That's interesting to the boys. Oh, he's all right then. He's got 2 boys. They go to cricket. He works for. What does he do? What does that kind of stuff. Yeah, they little things to get an idea.
So after that first meeting, did you keep meeting on neutral ground, or what happened to progress it?
No, I think then he came round, but there was a little while. A while went in between. So my eldest still hadn't met him, and then what we did, he came round. We were going to a party. A friend of mine was having a 50th or something like that, and he was coming with me. And what we did was he came round a little bit early, so he could meet them and say hi. Literally for 20 minutes, and we kind of planned it that way. He came round, I had a cup of tea. I think my daughter had a friend as well. He met my eldest who hadn't been at the concert, and it was really kind of, hi, this is so-and-so. And then we went, so that it was just really easy and this really, I love gentle.
So it doesn't feel like a really big weighty thing.
No, so we didn't want to do, right, we're all going to have dinner together and we're going to give you the Spanish Inquisition, because that would be awkward for everybody. So no, it was little tiny drops in for a few meetings, and then I think then he started coming around for dinner, and it was easy because everyone got on. He's easy to get on with. My kids were easy. Luckily. Yes. We did plan it. We did really think about it. We talked about it. We really planned it.
Right.
Really intentional with it.
One of the tips that gets given is to give your child or children extra attention during that first meeting. So the first meeting needs to be where it's not just about, oh, this is my partner,
Yes.
you've got to meet them and you need to, because then you'll get that, you always talk about this, it's the disconnect with the child. So the child needs to, or the teenager needs to feel like it's you two, or you, however many, looking at the partner, chatting to them, and giving them a chance, giving it some air.
Yeah, we did that. I think we got a takeaway or something, which my kids are easy with food. They're like, if you buy them a takeaway, they are putty in your hand. They're quite simple.
That. Yes.
So we did that, just stuff like that, is, and then, but we kept it short, right? That's it, done now. So nobody's left thinking it's weird. When he first started staying over, that was different, or staying or being there for longer. I very intentionally talked to my kids about that. And we waited a long time, actually. We waited quite a few months to do that.
And what did you, when you say you talked to your kids about it, what did that involve?
Less with my eldest, who at that point had his girlfriend staying over a lot. So for him, it was less of a thing. But he was also involved, but more for the twins. And I said to them, I think it'd be really nice if Mike stayed over. I'd really like that. But how do you feel about it? Is that all right with you? How do you feel? And I said, you can absolutely say you're uncomfortable with it, that I'm genuinely asking you. This is not lip service. I'm genuinely asking, how do you feel about that? And they were a bit like, oh no, we're fine with that. They thought about it. I think my youngest boy quipped, because he's a smart ass. This is family therapy. What are we doing?
I love it. He always comes up with great answers, doesn't he?
But I said, well, the reason I'm asking you is this is your home.
Yes.
This is your safe space where this is your base, and I want you to feel absolutely safe and absolutely comfortable. I am introducing a new person into that field who I think will be amazing, but it's new. And if you don't feel comfortable, if your home suddenly then becomes less comfortable, then that's not okay. So that is why I'm asking you, and why I'm going to keep asking you. And they got that. They appreciated it. And after a while, it was unnecessary. But for a long time, I'd go, is it okay with you? Is it okay with you? And it felt like a really respectful way of doing it.
I think that's such an important point you're making there. And you handle that so well, because I think one of the other tips they've given is you need to give your child lots of space to ask questions and discuss how they feel before and after. And it needs to be really centered on them, because the point you've made that's so important is it's their space.
Yeah, and I said to them,
safe space.
I said to them, if you don't feel comfortable, then he doesn't come. You are first. This is your home. That's the priority. And if you don't feel that's okay, then it doesn't happen, and that is cool.
Right. And that's quite a tricky thing to do, isn't it? If your child then says, well, I don't want them round because they're trying to control the situation. It must feel hard for some parents if they think, well, I just want to be happy. Why? How can I? But I guess you just have to give it time. You have to be prepared to say, yes, because if it is going to be a long-term relationship, it needs to be done slowly, with respect.
Exactly that. I mean, that's what my partner and I have always said. We're in this for the long haul. We know that for sure.
Yes.
So if it takes a few more weeks, few more months, then and everybody's cool. Yes, that is what we do.
And I think Jamie's mentioned that the particular daughter she's a little bit stuck on is emotional about it. So sometimes she's happy, sometimes she's not. And her partner is amazing. He doesn't have kids, but he said, I come from a divorced family, and I understand that this is a bit of a roller coaster. And I suppose with that, it's about checking in with her daughter when she's feeling and understanding that as a teenager, you can feel very vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things is what happens to my relationship with my parent?
Yes.
So if I was a teenager in that situation, I'd be thinking, well, hang on a second. So you're kind of moving on.
Yeah.
Where do I fit into this?
And we'd been very close, and I had been on my own for a long time. I'd had, some relationships, but not for a long time. So you have a way of being in the home, and then suddenly, because I want to spend time with my partner when he's in the home, and maybe we're sitting chatting, and it's different. yeah, it's just checking in all the time, and I've done that, and this conversation has made me think, oh, I need to just check in again. It's been a little while since I've checked in on it. Where are you at? I think it's fine, but I want to have that conversation to make sure. And also, I think what you said about this other daughter, it's maybe it's hard to know sometimes whether, you know, you can. Oh, are they playing a game? Are they being controlling? You know, they want me rather than, you know, but. If that's happening, then that's really valid.
Yeah, it's absolutely, whatever they're feeling is valid.
If they're playing a game with it, or however you want to word it, you know, maybe there's some sort of manipulation in it, or I don't like that word, but in this context, but that is valid. There's a reason for it, because I have found, and I've been beautifully surprised with his kids as well. They actually, if it's done in a, and I think we've been really lucky as well. You know, everyone's got on really well. But we have been really intentional with it as well. I think it's both. They actually have delighted in me being happy.
Yeah.
And his kids delight in him being happy. And there's a different vibe in the house when he's there. It's like, it's really fun. It's really, you know, he'll cook dinner, and there's like a running joke. Oh, great, Mike's here. We're going to get great dinner, you know, and I go along with it. So we've tried to see it. This is an addition. Yes. Rather than a takeaway, but having the awareness that if anyone feels that it's a takeaway, then we have a break from it. You know, maybe I'll take you out, or he doesn't come around tonight, or we haven't had to do that yet.
That's so good. And I think it's being explicit. And funnily enough, I think I wasn't sure that my nugget really fed into this, but I think it does, because I think as adults, we often think, well, of course they know I love them. Well, of course they know that, you know, they wouldn't think for a second that I don't like them just because I didn't say something. Yeah. But I think we need to be very deliberate and explicit in how we're managing it, how important their feelings and thoughts are, and that constant, and it's better to be a little bit over than under. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've had from both of them, all of them, you don't have to ask us anymore. It's fine. But like in a night, we're cool. We're cool.
We get it.
And I've said, well, I'm probably going to still do that just because I think it's important.
And what about displays of affection?
That's a good one. Yeah, we've been told to get a room.
That's so funny. By whom? Your friends or your children?
Children. with jokes. My youngest, they laugh about it, but we're kind of. We've talked about it as well, actually. It's double, isn't it? It's like, I want my kids to see what a loving relationship looks like. I think that's really important and really healthy for them. And I don't want anyone feeling awkward or embarrassed or squirming. So it's getting that, you know, getting that balance. So we're really natural together, but no, we're not putting anyone to the
And I think just go low on that small acts of affection rather than, you know, snogging them in front of you.
Oh no, we would not do that.
That is, It's interesting, isn't it? Because I've got lots of friends who've tried and failed at introducing new partners. And part of it is, I think, to do with, you know, is it the right time? What's the dynamic? And, you know, with one of my friends, he had a really great partner who he loved and respected and thought was fantastic. But he was in a space in his relationship with his kids where he just wasn't ready to include her fully in his life. And that's meant that they can't go forward because I think she felt, look, I need more commitment. Yeah. And this is the problem when you've got partners who are at different stages of that process. Somehow it's, you know, you've all got to be prepared to move things forwards. And the children come first. So with him, he said, you know, my kids come first. I have to prioritize their needs. And if she can't accept what I need to do to look after them, it's not going to work. And this is the sad thing about, you can find the most amazing partner, but when, you know, if your lives are in different stages, she's in a very different stage in her life. And so
that's really painful, isn't it?
Very
really
painful.
But it's also really telling, isn't it? You know, where it's really telling for the relationship, because maybe there's something in it that is
holding somebody back.
Resistance there. Yes. I think that's very telling.
And you can't make things happen when they're not going to happen. So I read a fantastic piece by Cassidy Littlejohn, who had some excellent feedback. She had been a 17-year-old who came home to find a woman sitting on her dad's lap giggling. So she wrote a great piece for parents.com about, you know, okay, how do you do this from the viewpoint of a teenager?
Yeah.
which I thought might be
Yeah,
very valuable,
brilliant.
particularly with this lady. So,
Brilliant.
number one headline, tell us you're dating. So, with her, she came home and found he was dating this woman. She didn't know anything about it. So she, say, I know this might be weird to talk about it, but I want you to know that I'm giving dating another chance. And I want you to be aware and to trust me. And so she said one of the most important things was to give your intentions about the dating. So what happens is your teenager is looking at it going, oh, they're dating. There's somebody. They're instantly going to think, well, hang on, how do I fit into this?
Because the world revolves around them.
Do you expect me to be involved in any way? Like, am I supposed to get to know this person? Am I supposed to like them? And how does it affect our relationship? So you need to be conscious of these things and think, okay, I'm going to be honest with them and say, I am seeing this person. And then just say, what do you expect? So just say, you don't need to worry about it. I'm not expecting you to get on with them or anything. I'm just dating. Or you can say, at some point, it might be nice for you to meet. But you're my priority. So let's do it sometime when.
Yeah.
So just slowly drip feeding.
Sowing that seed so they can just go and mull over it, so it's not a shock, because that sounds like it was a shock to.
Oh my goodness, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
And then when you want them to meet, again, you did this so well. Just ask, are you ready? Are you ready to meet them? And she said she would have felt it much less painfully if there had been that sense of mutual respect. So what you're doing when you're saying to your teenager, are you ready, is you're acknowledging that they may not be ready and that their feelings about this really matter.
Yeah, and then be willing to say, okay, if they say I'm not ready, to respect that instead of trying to force it.
Yes. And then the next headline she had was, don't expect us to love your partner immediately. Just because you like them or love them does not mean that that's going to be me, how I feel. And she said, you need to give your teen room to chat about that relationship, and you can ask them key things like, what were your thoughts? How did you feel about it? Were you comfortable? Would you be okay to spending a bit more time with this person in the future? And let them have space. And it may be that it needs to be in the car, or it needs to be last thing at night when they're ready to talk about it.
And I found mine are all very different. Like some of them, I had to be careful. Some of them sounds like I've got hundreds. I've got 3. Don't want that responsibility. That starts to become a responsibility. You have to be careful. You don't ask too many. What do you think? Is this okay with you? Are you all right? So they're going, I don't know. You decide. It's your partner. Yes. You have to really find that balance of respect, of involving them and respecting but it's not their responsibility to decide how much this is. I am also the adult and going to make call those shots as well.
Yes,
but it depends on the kid.
The lady who contacted us, the reason her partner didn't introduce her to the children for 2 years, even though it was very painful, was that I think it's one child actually, his child had met his ex's partner quite quickly, bonded with her. And then that relationship broke down, and he'd found that very painful. And so what you want to do is you want to say, don't worry, you don't have to get to know these people. It's not important. The most important thing is our relationship, and keep that connection really tight and strong. And don't let dating get in the way of your own relationship with your teenager.
And there is often another side to it. So there's, the parents have divorced, obviously, or split up, which is why there's a new one, hopefully. Otherwise, that would be awkward, even more complicated. But if the other partner has already had experiences with, then the children are affected by that. Yes. So my ex has had various relationships where he lives abroad, and they have, I don't know all the details, but they have been sort of introduced very quickly to a whole family, and then actually one of them just disappeared. And that was really difficult. And because they live abroad, that maybe makes it, more black and white. But there's now a new partner, and they were immediately introduced to the whole family, and that's gone really well, I think, which is brilliant. But they then have a new norm of the norm introducing. And so my kids were a bit like, are we gonna meet Mike's kids? And we were really slow with that. We're really, really intentional with that side of it. So there's this, it's not just yours. There's probably an ex who's doing or not doing other things that has coloured how the kids see all of this.
Yes, I mean, once we've had kids, it's not like just meeting one other person. You there's an entire, backstory, history, so this stuff is complicated.
Yeah, it is.
It's not like falling in love when you're 16, but just remembering also that teenagers are, whatever age they are as a teenager, it's stressful because they're taking on an awful lot. They're learning a lot. And so all change is stressful to everybody. Yeah. So having another thing that's changing can be, so just...
Yeah. And that is a mix. I always find that part of it is a mix also in this subject. It's like there's lots going on. It's complicated, and you want to make it as gentle as possible and not burden them with any of this and make it more complicated. And they have undeveloped brains and are really pragmatic and live in the moment. So if you come in and make it fun and say, we've brought a takeaway, they're probably going to go, yay.
Yeah, it's great. Yes.
We like him. It's both. If one of them is clear, if they're all right, and and it comes back to the same old, if your sort of baseline communication and your baseline connection is good, you can have these conversations. If it isn't, then this is more complicated.
Yes. Back to connection with your teenager. Stick with that. Make sure that's solid, and then bring in everything else. And then they can
deal with a lot more.
Yes. So what do you think? Have you had experience of this? It's interesting because we're starting to go back on some of the topics that we've talked about, but they're all slightly different, and we come at them from different angles. So, we're always willing to go into things if you contact us and say, I've got this issue.
And I do know an opposite story where somebody who introduced somebody very quickly, didn't really think about it because they didn't expect it to be a problem, and it's caused huge amounts of problems, and they don't really, it's been awful. So being intentional with it is really important.
I think intentional, slow, and constantly checking in with your first priority, which is your child. It just is.
Yeah.
And eventually they'll fly the nest and go and live their life. But just knowing that connection's there is really important to them.
And having that sense, if your partner is in it for the long haul, then they're there for your kids as well. And we've had these conversations, and then the kids pick up on that. Yes. My kids all feel that, which is really lovely.
Yes. So if you've enjoyed this episode, then why not help other parents? Tell your friends, tell the school, subscribe to our podcast. That makes a big difference. If you can do that, that would be very helpful. If you can send us a review, yay! You can sign up to receive all the latest on our own website, where there's a blog, reviews, links to every episode, and ways to contact us. That's www.teenagersuntangled.com. Susie has her own website, www.mindful-life.co.uk. And you can contact her, ask her questions, book.
Free call. You can do a free 15-minute call with me.
So yes, go ahead. Yeah. So that's it for now. And anything else, Susie?
No. Goodbye for now, and see you soon.